Nicholas Doucette works through the studio's brainstorming process. The PlayStation blog's latest developer interview offers a look at the creation of the PlayStation VR platformer Astro Bot Rescue Mission. In that post, creative director Nicholas Doucette dives into the team's brainstorming and design process, offering a brief look at how ideas go from sticky notes on a whiteboard to memorable moments in the final game. It's a quick rundown, but one that offers a peek at how one of the game's boss fights formed and evolved throughout development. Doucette's post explains that this boss in particular was born out of the broad picture of creating something huge that towered above the player and would feel like an epic battle. One of the resulting sticky notes was a battle where players fought inside a massive enemy's mouth and punched to lose to win. The full post offers a peek at the design document covering the prototype for that boss battle and how that first prototype manifested in-game, as well as some advice on making the most of brainstorming sessions. Motan owner Microsoft has a 10th anniversary event coming up for Minecraft, but the company has noted to Variety that the game's creator, Marcus Notch, person will not be included in the festivities. The event aims to celebrate the past, present, and exciting future of the decade-old franchise, a franchise that is available for 20 platforms and still receives regular content updates, on top of being excluded from the event. A Microsoft representative told Variety that persons' comments and opinions do not reflect those of Microsoft, Motan, and are not representative of Minecraft, and noted that person has not been directly involved with the game since Microsoft picked it up for $2.5 billion in 2014. While person made a name for himself through the creation of the now decade-old building and survival game, his more recent notoriety has come from offensive tweets shared with his 7 million Twitter followers on topics of sexuality and race. To name a few, it's not the first move the company has made to distance itself from the game's controversial creator. Just recently, Microsoft removed references to person from the list of phrases that can display on the game's menu, though he remains in the game's credits. Epic Games is facing another lawsuit over its game Fortnite, though this latest case has little to do with Battle Royale or dance moves. A California man has filed a legal complaint against the game developer on behalf of his son, alleging that the loot box-esque loot llamas in the Fortnite Save the World flavor of the game exploits children. Loot llamas show as a potential job priority as of a January 20th. 90 update to the game, but prior to that the boxes were completely blind, meaning that players had no way of knowing in the moment exactly how likely they were to pull the rare job they were after. It's that pre-update stage of the game that plaintiff Steve Lts takes issue with in the potential class action suit spotted by The Verge, though the fact that the game has since been altered to include Oz is not mentioned in the lawsuit. The complaint says that the game is structured in such a way that it entices minors and others into purchasing loot boxes, known as llamas, using unfair and deceptive marketing. That includes the fact that purchasable loot llamas would display a potential high-value drop before being opened, though the actual odds of receiving that drop were allegedly quite low. Players are encouraged to keep purchasing llamas, with the reasonable belief that repeated purchase will lead to the chance of receiving better loot, and therefore improvement in performance of the game. Continues the document. Through both express misrepresentations and omissions, Epic markets llamas as highly likely to contain valuable loot that will increase a player's power and prowess in the Fortnite game. But in reality, lobbies do not contain the loot expected by the reasonable consumer. The complaint goes on to say that if ALTES had known the act of pooling the desired loot in lobbies were virtually nil, he would not have made those purchases to begin with, and that the very structure of Fortnite's loot lobby system violates the Consumer Legal Remedies Act, California's false advertising law, California's unfair competition law, and constitutes unjust enrichment. It's not the first lawsuit levied against Fortnite, by any means, or is it the first to take issue with the presence of loot boxes in video games. Just recently, the FTC announced that it would be launching an investigation into loot boxes as a monetization technique through a public workshop later this year. THQ Nordic, a publisher that's seen rapid growth through recent acquisitions and funding, found itself in a public relations predicament after deciding to hold an AMA on notorious internet cesspool 8chan, which is known best for hate speech, far-right conspiracy theorizing, and pedophilic content. It's yet another example of how not to appear in the game industry, or any industry, for that matter. We are doing an 8chan AMA, and we have no idea why. Come join us. Read the initial tweet from THQ Nordic. 2 hours and thousands of mostly negative tweet reactions later. The THQ Nordic marketing director, who led the AMA, was apologizing. I personally agreed to this AMA without doing my proper due diligence to understand the history and the controversy of the site, said Philip Brock, PR and marketing director for THQ Nordic. I do not condone child pornography, white supremacy, or racism in any shape or form. I am terribly sorry for the short-sightedness of my decision, emphasis Brock's, and promise to be far more vigorous in my assessment of these activities in the future. He said, this was not about being edgy. This blew up and I very much regret to have done it in the first place. 8chan is a message board known for a lot of reasons, a haven for the online hate group Gamagate, a place to dox and swat people who have social justice leanings, a home for far-right conspiracy theorizing, and most egregiously as a haven for pedophiles and pedophilic imagery. It's unusual, perhaps unbelievable, that THQ Nordic's marketing and PR team was unaware of 8chan as history. Game developers on Twitter knew about 8chan, with their reactions ranging from confusion to anger, seeing THQ Nordic's use of 8chan as an alignment with the site's sordid history and present, as negative sentiment built on social media. THQ Nordic's Twitter account sent out a cryptic update that seemed to imply the company was approached by an 8chan user about holding and moderating the ammo on the board. The opportunity was here on the way toolkit, without apologized sick, in a very friendly and polite manner, and were assured, said person, shout out to Mark, we'll take care of the nasty stuff. So, here we go, the tweet read. In a follow-up email, we asked Brock about instances where he interacted with 8chan users. One instance where a user asked about Big Titty Lolis, i.e. underage girls with large breasts, in THQ Nordic games, and another where he appeared to assure a user not to be influenced by Soccer's crowd. The user's words, not Brock's. Pick. Twitter. Come to DUFWQKIT5. Brock told Gamasutra, I fucked up and well. It is strange to have to say this, but I will do it, nevertheless. I'm not a white supremacist, nor into child pornography, nor do I think this AMA was smart in hindsight, and if I could, I would undo it. We will try to stay that way, was in relation to us not censoring other games, not the sue part. But I guess, at this point, people write their own stories, and yes, everything I have said can and will be used against me, he said in regards to his response to a user who said, "Please do not censor any games, no appeal to the soccer's crowd. You guys are doing fine as is." THQ Nordic has been ramping up its growth recently, picking up new game properties, studios, and issuing new shares to fund even more acquisitions. The Writers Guild of America has announced the nominees of its annual Video Game Writing Award, with the winners to be announced February 17th. Although there are a lot of factors that dictate which games are eligible for guild recognition, events like this offer game developers a way to keep an eye on the games that stand out from the rest of the year's releases.